Guys in an iPad, the only mortgage-focused podcast currently developing a zero-shot COVID vaccine. I'm Brian Rieger, and guys, these things really sometimes do right themselves and sometimes they don't. My apologies. Let's get off of me now and talk to our good friend and co-host Rick Grant, the co-founder at Content Beacon, somewhere in northern Wisconsin today. Rick, how are you, sir?
Brian, I'm doing well. It's good to see you as always. We're not freezing to death anymore.
That's
we were last week.
So now, is it safe to say northern Wisconsin? Everything to me north of the state line is northern Wisconsin. So can you say northern?
From your perspective, I'm up north.
Yeah. Okay, very good. All right. Normally, this is the point where we introduce our third guy, Kevin Breeland out of Austin, Texas. But Kevin will not be with us for a couple of weeks. It's for good reason, guys. We'll announce it all when we're able to, but Kevin sends his regards. He'll be back with us very shortly, guys. And this is, of course, the point of the podcast where I make our shameless plug for Content Beacon, the premier B2B content marketing agency in the industry. Whether you're a wholesaler trying to reach brokers, warehouse to correspondent, lender to realtor, any kind of B2B in the mortgage industry, give us a ring or shoot us an email. Also, if you'd like to be on the show, if you know someone who should be on the show, the emails are in the show links, Rick at Content Beacon and Brian at Content Beacon. Enough about us. Let's get to our guests. We've got two very special guests today. Our first guest, this is her first time on the show. Hopefully it will not be her last. We're thrilled to welcome Denise Panza. She is a senior mortgage banker with Total Mortgage Services in Brookfield, Connecticut, not far from Danbury. Correct, Denise? And,
correct.
I went to school in Connecticut. So you may know her from her excellent LinkedIn videos or social media videos. She's been in the industry about 25 years, a top producer in the New York and Connecticut area, and looks like several other states as well. Denise, welcome.
Thank you for having me, Brian and Rick. I appreciate it.
Well, we're honored to have you here today. How's the weather up in Connecticut today?
So I'm a New Yorker. My office is in Connecticut.
Okay.
There's a lot of white stuff outside in New York. It's been snowing like every other day.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds about right from here in Cleveland. Shawn, even in Atlanta this year, you haven't escaped a little bit of cold, have you?
I mean, it's been brutally cold. Just we don't have any white stuff. So
Okay.
I was like, if it's going to be this cold, we have to have some white stuff to make it worthwhile.
I'm with you on that. Of course, folks, I've already jumped the gun here, but you know our second special guest from previous shows. We can call him a friend of the show, I think, at this point. Shawn Graham is here with us from Southeast Mortgage in Atlanta, Georgia. He's an executive vice president there, and he's a vet of the industry since 2005. You may also know him from his multiple social media videos in various outlets. And he's maybe the only mortgage banker we know of to actually play for the legendary Lou Holtz in college football. But that is only one of his many accomplishments. Shawn, thanks for joining us today from frigid Atlanta.
Thank you so much. I'm honored to be here again. Love talking with you guys. It should be fun. Should definitely be fun.
Outstanding. And I will mention this. We have both of you on today, not only because of Rick and I have a keen interest in marketing, obviously, at Content Beacon, and you guys are top level marketers, but you're also you have a rare characteristic. You're both experienced, top producing originators who also can see things from the executive level. You guys have been at the ground level. You've looked down from the top as well. So we're going to talk a little bit about the purchase market because some are acting like the sky is falling and others are embracing it right now. And I think you guys will have some thoughts on that. But let me ask you, during your, and I'll let whoever wants to jump in first go ahead and do that, but you've both been in the business a fair share of time. You are not rookies anymore by any means. And I mean that in a good way of experience. What's the single biggest change that you've encountered during your time in the lending industry?
I'm just going to speak on the new URLA. I just want to shoot myself.
Okay.
That's it. Is anyone else struggling with that? I mean, outside of the new, right, the new 1003, whatever we want to call it, outside of that, I just think the biggest hurdle has always been guideline changes, like constantly, right? Like daily, weekly, monthly. You're always learning in this game, 25 years later, and I'm still learning.
And it doesn't matter how much lead time, right? So they've been working on the new URLA for 3 years, and they're acting like, well, you lenders should be ready now because we've had it for 3. You've been busy with a few other things during that time, right?
Yeah, it's hard enough. Denise, before Sean jumps on, I will mention that I've been trying desperately to get one of our attorney friends to speak to Erla on our show, on other shows, and you've seen we have more than our fair share of lawyers here. None of them want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. So, but how about you, Sean? How is Erla treating you?
So I'm just like every other loan officer. We kind of don't like change, because at some point you get really good at taking the apps the way you take apps, and it's like the conversation that you have is so fluid after a certain point. And now you mean my whole setup is now changed. So where it could take you 15 minutes to do your complete application, what questions to go where, without even looking at the screen, right? And now I've actually got to pay attention to the questions, because it's all new. It's a lot of new questions that are now entered, and they rearrange sections. So yeah, it is going to be difficult at first, I believe, because we all don't like change. Just like when Dodd-Frank came about, nobody really wanted to get tested, because most of us hadn't taken a test since school. So I think it's natural. Sales guys, we're in sales for a reason. We're not test takers, and we like things consistent, so.
Well, I'm going to throw this back at you, Denise. Is this worse or better than TRID a few years back? I know you say TRID and most lenders grimace these days, and I don't know if that impacted on the originator side as much as maybe, a little deeper into the process. But how does this compare to that TRID implementation?
I'm going to say this is worse.
Wow.
Am I allowed to say? I do. I truly believe it. I don't know when, Sean, when your company rolled it out. We rolled it out the beginning of February. So I'm 24 days deep, and I'm still everyone in my company, whether it's, the underwriters, everyone's just running into obstacles and hurdles. And it's painful, especially, I guess it doesn't help any that we're, closing loans in the biggest, this is the busiest all of us have ever been. Right. So you add that piece to it, and it's just, it's painful.
Yeah. So you've got loan officers trying to figure out where to go. You got underwriters trying to figure out where to go, and like she was saying, we're all busy. So like unlike in years past, January and February are actually some very big months right now. So for a good originator, nothing slowed down. December. It's looking like a July, August at this point for good originators. So to put this in the middle is kind of awkward. The timing is never good, but here's the thing: is the timing is never right for change. It's like kind of like if you, as a father now, like for me, it took me a while I want to be a father, but like, are you truly ready for it? You just got to kind of jump into it. So it's kind of like with this new 1003 is like there would have never been a perfect time to do it because we all hate change. So we didn't have to cut ties and just go ahead and do it. And that's kind of where we are. So hopefully by April and May, we got a good rhythm, and everything is smoking just like it was before.
Well, that brings up an excellent point. You guys are creatures of rhythm, I would imagine. To do the volume you do, it can't be from the hip most of the time. Someone explained that to the CFPB. They don't care anyways. But it's. I want to ask you a little, though. We've seen a change in the market, or at least are we? I'm going to ask you guys, since you're right in the middle of it. It's been refi for a lot of folks. Not everyone. I know a lot of folks have done purchase right through. I'm hearing out there that it's becoming, or it already is a purchase market, that refi is starting to slow. I'm going to ask you both, what kind of market are you seeing right now in the first quarter? And what do you think we're going to see as the year goes along?
I'll let ladies go first. I'm a gentleman. I'm a Southern gentleman. Okay?
Outstanding.
Refis are still maintaining on my end. They're even with the rates that increased recently, they're still very, very busy with refis. But purchases are kicking butt too. I know a lot of you guys probably hear, because I'm a New Yorker, right? Originally from Brooklyn. I live in New York, that everyone's leaving the city, that everyone's leaving Manhattan. I haven't really felt that. I'm doing loans in the city, and I'm doing loans in Brooklyn. So I just think it's just a busy buying time. Everyone's buying. I think maybe obviously it has to do something with the rates, because the rates, if you're getting a rate in the twos, it's like the cheapest money ever, right?
True, very true. Shawn, how about you? What are you seeing right now?
Our purchases definitely have ticked up, but our company is a company that sells to a client's need. So we don't strictly just focus on one aspect. So we're never going to be 100% refi shop and vice versa. We're always looking for the need. We do believe in life cycles. So no matter what happens with the rates, people still will need cash out. They'll need consolidation. They'll have divorces. So we're a life cycle. As far as purchase, I never want somebody who's going to be all refinance and give up on purchase, because I have a focus right now, because I know a lot of loan officers are just strictly on refinance. So where's my opportunity at? So right now is a good time for a loan officer to really attack the purchase market and build those relationships, while other loan officers are taking, easy bait. We all know it won't last forever. A good quarter tick in the market could really change, your refinance landscapes. So we're always looking to sell to a person's need, not just the topic of today or whatever it may be. We encourage those conversations, as a lot of professional loan officers do. People call you for one thing, but after you actually have that conversation, you may find that their need is somewhere else. And so we try to fit that person's need, because we want to have, a client for life, and not just a transaction.
Well, it seems like a very sound approach. Do you think, though, so you sound like you're still seeing a pretty good mix where you're at, Shawn. Are you, but in terms of demand, do you think, I'm going to ask you both this, is there such a thing as seasonality anymore, even in the northern and midwestern states? Do you guys see a dip in repurchase in the first quarter like it used to be when it's snowing out? Denise, I see you shaking your head. Tell me more.
No, I mean, everyone typically always thought around, Thanksgiving and Christmas, it was your, slowest periods. And I think my November, my December were some of my best months. And just like us loan officers are so busy, I'm sure we can all attest that if we have realtor friends, our realtors have never been this busy in their lives too. So obviously purchase business is booming, and I think will continue to. I hope it will.
Well, it sounds very positive. Shawn, how about you? Seasonality, such a thing?
Currently, every month feels the same, so there's really been no downturn, no drop off, which I'm thankful for. So I'm not complaining. I will say one of the challenges that we have here in Metro Atlanta is the lack of inventory. So, in certain price points, certain houses can have 40 different contracts in a day, and it's highest and best. So, as a loan officer, if you have a lot of realtors and you're very well known within realtors, the likelihood of your pre-approval getting accepted over your competitors who are strictly concentrating on refinance, it helps you. Hence why I believe your marketing is important. Hence why I believe in your social media marketing, your digital marketing, content marketing, stuff like that, because people need to know who you are. The more familiar you are, the more likelihood when they're looking at a stack of 40 pre-approvals, will I choose Shawn over somebody I've never heard of, or I'll choose Southeast Mortgage over a company I never heard of. So I think it's very important. And I think that's what we're probably going to get into a little bit later on today. But it's been very difficult in certain price points the inventory levels are so small. And I think some of the starter home prices have kind of gone. In New York, I don't know if you guys have a starter home price at all, which I love Brooklyn, but Brooklyn is very expensive, because I've looked for a second home in Brooklyn. It's beautiful over there, but the price points are driven up. So like some of your first time home buyers are having a little bit of issues because they're going for highest and best, and they're not asking for no closing costs. So when somebody says, are there 100% loans out there? Yes, there's some 100% loans, but if I'm a seller, I'm going with the strongest possible scenario. So I'm looking for somebody who has money, because if I got 40 offers and I don't have to pay closing costs, then I'm not going to pay the closing costs.
Well, Shawn, you teed that up nicely for Denise, but I promise, guys, we're going to talk a lot of marketing. It's part of why you're here. And of course, Rick and I don't pretend to be originators, so we're going to definitely talk some marketing. But you mentioned an interesting point, and we've heard this a lot, Shawn, and Denise, I'm going to ask you about it. Shortage of inventory. How is that in the tri-state area, and especially in the city and whatnot? You said there's not as many. It's not like a mass exodus like the media will portray it. Tell us about the inventory in your region.
No, it's the same way. There's multiple offers, highest and best. So that's why I think that the purchase market will continue for a while, because there's a whole handful of, there's a big two handfuls of buyers that only qualify for FHA or maybe only qualify for USDA. They're unfortunately, getting, kicked to the side right now. So they're ready, they're eager, they're hungry, they want to do it. So they're just going to have to wait for all this craziness to calm down a little bit. And then there's your next, slew of buyers that are going to be ready. They are ready. They just not, they're, you know what I mean? They're just getting kicked to the curb.
They can't find it. Yeah. Well, I think so. It sounds like there's a lot of opportunity ahead for originators who are willing to go work for it. And I think we've got two folks here who are very willing to do that. But let's talk a little bit about at least one of your specialties. I don't want to pigeonhole you folks, but sales and marketing. Okay. To be a good originator, you've got to be a marketer. So I'm going to start by segueing into that by asking you, there's still refi out there. It didn't, the spigot hasn't completely shut off yet. You guys are certainly doing more than just purchase, but when you do we can agree the cycle is starting to shift here a little bit. There's a little bit of a change in what's out there in the market, in the demand. How does your marketing change, if at all? Okay, if at all, but does your marketing change in positioning yourself when you get a different kind of a market? I'll toss that up for you guys, whoever wants to start.
Shawn.
All right. So, for me personally, my marketing really doesn't change because I am presenting myself as I take care of home financing needs. So it's not just a purchase or a refinance. I definitely don't position myself as being the lowest rate person in the market because that's not what I sell. I sell a service. And for service, people do pay for a service. So my marketing has not changed. I want to make sure that I stay top of mind. I want to make sure that when people think of mortgage, they think of Shawn. If they think of buying a house, they think of Shawn. If they think of anything has to do with a home, residential, they think of me. And I want them to be able to easily access this information and easily find my contact information and easily be able to find out who I am, what I stand for, and what I do. So as far as that never changes. Because if you do a really good job with agents, they'll have clients that call them about refinancing. So you'll always pick up stuff if you stay top of mind. So I just believe in staying top of mind with my area. I'm very concentrated, so I'm not trying to be the lender of choice in Oregon. I'm just Atlanta. I want everybody here in Atlanta to know who I am, what I do, how to catch me, how to reach me, and build those relationships. That's my motto and that's my focus. I'm hyper focused on a market.
Relationship-based selling, right? And Denise, from your videos, it sounds to me like you take a lot of that approach as well. Does it change when the market changes, or do you kind of stick with it?
I just talk everything real estate. I never, you know what I mean? It's refis one day, then it's VA loans, and then it's back to USDA loans. I'm just all over the place. Just anything that has to do with real estate, I'll just talk about it.
It's a tried and true tactic, right? Consultative selling. It works from title to lender. And Rick and I, that's kind of one of the things we specialize with our clients, subject matter expertise, which you both put out there, relationship-based selling. Now I'm going to ask, I know Rick has a question. I'm going to ask you both. Do you guys tend to focus, are you both direct to consumer, or do you guys work on relationships with realtors as well?
I love my realtors. So it would be consumers and realtors, right? Realtors they're both equally important to me, I would say. And title companies and CPAs and just everybody and anybody.
Hey, I like it. I
don't discriminate.
Excellent. Shawn, what about you?
So I've always been a realtor lender. And I remember one point in my career where there was a lack of inventory in the marketplace, and all my pre-approvals from realtors that would go out to new construction. And I didn't have any new construction relationships. So competing with a builder the builder lender who's giving $5,000, $7,500 in closing costs or even more, it became very hard for me to compete. So I became realtor lender and now a builder preferred lender, you know? But I also see the market is changing because unfortunately I've had a really good real estate partner of mine who was my biggest supporter, champion throughout the city. He passed away, you know? And what it made me realize is I just I don't want to have all my eggs in one basket, one field. And I do know there's other companies out here, like your online companies, even like a Rocket Mortgage, like a Better Mortgage, or, you know, these companies out here that are online, they're going straight directly to consumer. So it'll be great for me to go straight to consumer. I want to go straight to consumer as well too. So that's why I do a lot of marketing, try to pick up clients that way, straight to consumer. Because what's more valuable to me, if I can go straight to consumer and get people pre-approved, now I can go to a top agent in my area and be like, hey, look, I already got this person pre-approved for $500,000. I got two of them, matter of fact. Let's talk about partnering and working together. Because has your lender done that for you, or is he just filling calls, or is she just filling calls from you, waiting on you to provide that? So I like to go straight to consumer. We're able to do that right now, and it's free because all I gotta do is pay my cell phone bill, and I can go straight to consumer by recording my own videos. So if I can create a channel for myself through going direct consumer, I like to have that in my back pocket. But ultimately, it's to get back to the realtor. It's to give back to the builder, you know, so I can expand my network. It's not to, like, I don't like paying for leads, you guys. You know, Zillow, you know, almost every loan officer has been hit up before about paying for Zillow or paying for Realtor.com or paying for OpCity leads or whatever it may be. But if I can go straight to the consumer myself and create my own brand where people know my name and reach out to me before they reach out to the realtor, that's an advantage I have. And that's
I can say from, oh, sorry.
You're fine, go ahead.
No, I can say from LinkedIn, the videos that I do, I will establish relationships with realtors, but I'm telling you, all those billions of people you see on LinkedIn, I'm writing their mortgages. They're like, hey, Denise, my wife and I are buying a house. Hey, Denise, you know, my mom and I want to refi. Hey, Denise. And it's just, it's the consumer I'm having the most fun with, like other LinkedIn people that live in Pennsylvania or in Rhode Island, and have a, you know, whatever job they have, and they want a mortgage, and they see me, you know, talking.
Well, that's what I was going to ask about, guys, because in the old days, when you just couldn't get to the consumer easily. You could do direct mail, and you would do it when school was about to end, right? And now the kids don't ever go to school. They do it all online. So that's why we're seeing volume all year round. And you used to have to go to the realtor to get to the consumer. But now you can go directly to the consumer. And you guys, specifically, one of the reasons we picked you guys for this show is because you guys are using one of the most powerful tools to do that with your videos. So I'd like to know how you planned that, how you got into that, how you realized that was the big doorway, because you guys are rocking with it.
I started with Facebook because I was so intimidated by LinkedIn, you know, obviously, because I think of LinkedIn as you go there when you want a job. Never in a million years did I don't even post videos on Facebook anymore. Now I'm just like LinkedIn obsessed. It's so good to me. I write loans every single month just from LinkedIn referrals, consistently every single month. It's like, it's so fabulous.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really cool.
And Denise, is it really your primary, and then Sean, we want to come back to you too, but is that really your primary method of marketing these days? Are you really kind of funneling your efforts into your social media marketing, or is that just one?
That's all I do. I've never done any other marketing. I've never like purchased leads. I'm not that girl that's going to knock on a realtor's door and be like, here's my rate sheet and here's, you know, no, I don't do any of that. I sit behind my desk and I just, you know, make stuff happen. And then just all of a sudden 3 years ago, implemented videos, and videos are like my BFF now. Solely that's my pipeline is from doing these videos.
And I'll say, folks, this is the first time I'm meeting Denise in person, but I'm connected to her on LinkedIn. I don't usually connect to people I've never met before, but I'd seen her videos. And
we feel like we know you, Denise. And Shawn, same with you. Your video work is incredible.
You guys really do a nice job expressing your brand, expressing yourselves. And it's really awesome to see, and you can see that it's working. In fact, if it's not creepy, we'll include a link to your profile, Denise, so folks can check out some of your old videos, unless there's somewhere else we can take them. But Shawn, you too, since the first time we talked to you, you've been using LinkedIn and others as well. I think you do some Insta, I think you guys do Facebook, you do several things. And although you have a different style to your videos, I feel like I know Shawn Graham without ever having met him by the time I've watched a couple of them. So, but is that really your primary method these days? Does it remain your primary focus, or are you still doing other things in marketing as well?
It's my primary. It's definitely my primary. How can I put this? But there's different levels. I'm digging really deep. So I'm not a surface level video producer anymore. I mean, I've done that. Now I'm being very specific, very targeted. I think I talked to you guys before about the use of digital ads or digital campaigns with your videos. It's extremely powerful. If you guys want to kind of dig a little more in that, we can. I also, I do all the social media platforms because I don't know where my audience is, right? So somebody said that millennials is going to be the next biggest wave of buyers at some point, right? So I just know millennials aren't hanging out on Facebook and LinkedIn. They're on these other channels. So like there's a new one that I'm tasking my team around me. We got to figure this thing out. It's not even a video. It's a site called Clubhouse. Are you guys familiar with that or on that?
Yeah, talk radio.
Yes. So the thing is, I got to figure that out, but I will not be afraid to try platforms, whether it's TikTok, whether it's, Twitter made that comeback, and, I'm putting them on all because I just don't know what my next client, which platform you're hanging out on. So I try to make content geared for all platforms, but more importantly, I use digital marketing as well too. So a lot of stuff that people don't see because it's not geared, it's not meant for them. I'm using, like, digital is so intense as far as, like, I can pick a specific, a NYU grad with a basis in chemical engineering that graduated in 1980. Like, you can be so specific right now with going through digital marketing. So I'm very strict on that. I got my broad base that most people see, and I got my very detailed stuff that I do. But I do that for our company, so it's not just me. I'm trying to help our company win and get our brand out there, and help our loan officers have what we call a competitive advantage in the marketplace versus our competitors out here.
Get on TikTok.
That's what I was going to
Shawn.
say. I'm sorry, Denise.
I said get on TikTok, Shawn.
Hey, listen.
It's so fun.
Everybody's dancing. I haven't got the dances down yet.
Keep me off TikTok too, and Snapchat frightens and confuses me too.
Yeah, but Shawn, I love how you take that video to the next level, including your team and special shots of the people that you're working with. It really makes us feel like we know that your company, and we have some level of trust in that group. So yeah, really well done.
Thank you. I always tell our guys, like even someone who's doing a video right now, like on social media, like, you're not really competing with other loan officers. You're not competing with other mortgage companies. I know this is probably outside the box thinking, but I'm truly competing for a person's attention. So it has to look good, It has to be exciting, because I need your attention, because I'm competing against, I think the guys I told you before, you're competing against a model who's online. You're competing against a guy with an oiled body with 8-pack abs online. You're competing against somebody doing a listing that's a $14, $15 million listing, penthouse, and somebody's going to stop and scroll on that. So why would they just stop and scroll on my little ad that says, get pre-approved today, or file your taxes, buy a home? Why would they stop on something boring that way I've got to be very creative. I've got to capture that millennial's attention. If I'm on a millennial platform, I can be very much more technical sound on like a LinkedIn channel or maybe even Clubhouse. I'm not familiar with Clubhouse. You guys have to teach me that. I will have this done by the next time you guys see me and talk to me. But however, I know it's something we have to tackle. And I'm not going to be that loan officer that says I'm too busy for it, because this is prospecting. This is the new age of prospecting. And I tell guys, I haven't made a cold call since 2010, maybe, if that, 10 or 11. I haven't made one call. Everything, I get them coming into my inbox. It's like, other loan officers who take advantage of social media because it does all my work for me.
Well, I want to toss this out to both of you because you brought it up. And Denise, we're coming back to TikTok. We're not going to let that slide. I want to find out more about that. But we had you guys on because you're not the typical originator, because you stand out in the field and you're doing things differently. So I'm going to throw this out there. Maybe you're able to answer, or maybe not. But are there a lot of originators doing what you're doing, really taking time with their video or whatnot? Are originators still cold calling, buying leads, taking donuts or that's the title agents who take the donuts to the realtors, but taking the coffee to the realtors? Is that still what most folks with a book of business are doing? Or do you see it sliding towards more of a social media and networking approach?
I mean, there's a lot of people that I have a lot of friends, even coworkers at, my company, and they're like, you're crazy. Like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing videos. And I'm just like, get out there. I mean, you have to be comfortable in your skin, or just drink some Cabernet before you go on or something.
That is,
but I mean, not everyone,
Wednesday, right?
What'd you say, Brian?
Is that Wind Down Wednesday?
Yes.
Okay. I'm watching.
But not everyone can do this. I mean, I struggled with it. I am 3 years deep into doing videos, and I still get agita and anxiety when I have to turn my phone on. And it's just me and my phone. Half the time, like just sitting in my office or in front of my refrigerator, and I still get all like worked up. It's crazy, right?
Well, no, I'll tell you, Rick and I have talked about this. Every now and then we indulge ourselves in a content marketing based episode. And this one's great because you guys are making the case for content marketing for us. And especially during COVID, Rick and I have both said this. When COVID started and everybody was not able to get on an airplane or go to a conference and they're stuck with their iPhones, everyone had a video up for, if you recall, last March and April, you couldn't scroll without finding a bunch of 1-minute videos. 9 out of 10, 99 out of 100 was just a sales rep talking into his or her phone. We're not sure. Maybe it was entertaining, but the next one was totally different. And before you know it, you had no idea what they were doing. And Rick and I back then said, most of these people will be off the phone as soon as they're allowed to be on a plane again. And we've said from the start. Then both of you, there is a theme to what you're doing. You come at it with different themes, but they come back to the overall key message. I'm your loan officer in the area. You come at it from different angles, but if I click on a Denise video, I have a feel for what I'm about to get, whether there's wine involved or not. It's going to come back to the same theme. If I click on a Shawn video, I know what I'm going to get. In fact, Shawn may not even be in most of the video these days. He may just pop up at the beginning or end, and always with a new suit. Shawn, how many suits do you own? We're going to come back to that, but he's always very.
You're going to teach us how to dress, man.
Yeah, we need some help there. But that again, this is a big part of why you guys are on the show. And before I jump on, I will mention Rick is on Clubhouse. I just finally received my first invitation. I'm usually the last one on, and I read something today. I can't confirm it. We have a client on it who loves it, and I can't wait to try it out. But I did see on LinkedIn today someone saying Clubhouse is basically all the panels you skip at a convention. So not everyone's a fan yet, but I don't know. Any other thoughts on the approach to video, guys, before we move on? And I'll throw this in there as well. How much time do you guys put into your video, and not recording, but planning and everything?
I'm last minute. I'm like a last minute girl. If I put too much thought into it, then I'm gonna get myself all worked up, and it's not gonna be pretty. So I'm just like last night. One of my realtors posted that it was this. Why is everything around alcohol with me? But it was Margarita Day, right? It was like National Margarita Day. So I was like, oh my gosh, that looks great. So one of my realtors posted a picture, and then one of my other girlfriend's realtor, she's like, let's go have a margarita. And I was like, all right. She's like, I'll grab you. I'll be there in 15 minutes. And I'm like, perfect. I'm going to do a video really, really quick. And I posted one last night, literally, like, I think she picked me up at 7. I posted it in the car on the way to get our margarita, because I literally just had that small window, and it's like, Denise, just put it out, just run with it, talk about it. And it had to do with, LinkedIn yesterday when the whole thing crashed and I had heart palpitations because I thought that I was like in LinkedIn jail or something. I thought it was just my profile that got shut down. But then I was so happy to find out that it was like the whole world.
Well, that is all spur of the moment. That's impressive. Now, I know now, Shawn, you take a very different approach to video. You, as you mentioned before, you spent a lot of I don't know how much time, but you put a lot of thought into well in advance. And I guess both approaches seem to be working very well. But tell us a little about how much time you put into video.
See, that's what you guys think. I actually spend 0 time on my own stuff. It's all off the cuff. So I'll get into because just like Denise was saying, like if I think about it too long, I'm going to really stutter with my words. I'm too prepared. So I think every loan officer has the ability to shoot videos. We talk about the same things with every single client, no matter what they're buying. You're a wealth of knowledge. As a matter of fact, you're a wealth of knowledge more than most people that's ever going to buy a home. All right, so you can't be so, did I say this right? Did I say this right? Because you're going to appeal to a certain crowd. Like, no matter how smart I am or what kind of suit I have on, I'm going to piss somebody off. Okay? And somebody's not going to like me and not going to watch it. But however, there's a certain demographic, they're going to tune in and watch everything I do. It's just like myself, I've never ever watched one episode of Oprah. I haven't. I've never watched, but I've watched Young and the Restless though. Okay? So, but you think, I got 4 sisters, you guys, so that's kind of how that happened. But however, you're going to appeal to a certain demographic. Just put it out there. You don't know what that will be. Just like you're going to like certain pairs of shoes and certain type of clothes, and you're going to see somebody in some shoes and clothes that you like, who in the world would ever buy that or wear that? Just put it out there. So you have to get over yourself, because the main thing that we have is in our mind, we kill it before we even put it out ourselves. So just put it out there. The worst thing that you can do is just have to hit delete, okay? That's the worst thing. And actually, here's the funny thing about a lot of videos that really go viral are the ones that are like mistakes. So it's not the real polished ones. It's the ones that's the mistakes. People want a good chance to laugh. And then guess what? Most people have an anxiety level when it comes to shooting videos. So who would relate to that person who's having anxiety on the video? There's going to be other people who have that same anxiety, So just put it out, Don't listen to your friends. Like, people told me not to get in this business. My parents told me not to even get into mortgages. Imagine if I had listened to them, There's a lot of people who tell you how to do your life and how to not live your life. Like, I actually, this is a true story. I used to wear bow ties all the time. And so if you guys look back at any of my social media places, I was called a bow tie king around Atlanta. Because that's how I differentiate myself when I went to networking events. That's how I wanted people to remember me. But all my buddies would laugh at me. They would call me Farrakhan's boy. Where's your bean pies at? Does that thing spin? They'll come up to me and want to do a propeller spin. Now, one of the biggest critic I ever had is one of my best friends. The biggest critic. He always had something to say, big jokes. So he became a financial advisor 2 years ago. Guess what he's wearing?
Got to be a bow tie, right?
Guess who has all my old bow ties right now? So the thing is, just do things that make yourself stand out in your community. That's the only reason I'm doing this. But also I believe in prospecting, continuously prospecting. And this is the easiest form of me prospecting. Nobody's in the offices like they used to be, but everybody's on their social media, everybody's on their text, on their cell phones. I've got to have that strategy. And if you don't have that strategy, then it's like the Sears strategy. So you can be top one day, and next thing you know, it feels like Amazon came out of nowhere, but they didn't. They've been working for, and using technology. They used technology, Sears didn't, and now you kind of see what happened with those two companies. So I hope none of you guys have stock issues in Sears, whatever, but It's something that we all can relate to, from Sears to Blockbuster to Circuit City. These are things that we grew up that were staples at one point in time.
No, if you're not growing, you're dying, right? And I got to say, both of you, with the success you've had with your approaches, very different videos, but very similar approaches. A client of mine who's been a guest, Jim Palino, out of the Philly area, he has a thesis, and he's a tech developer, okay? His thesis is that people, even though we need to automate the transaction a lot better than we do now, people always want a human being at the end of the day. People want to know and trust you, and there's ways to automate without taking that human being out of the equation. So I think, would you guys agree with that statement? If not, then I'll just say it's my clients and not mine. But would you guys, it seems like that's exactly what the two of you are doing with your marketing.
Correct.
No.
Yeah, people want to work with people, human beings, right?
Yeah.
And I wish we could keep you guys on for another hour, but I think I want to wrap it up with one more question for you. And this actually comes from our good friend Kevin. As you know, Shawn, as you know, and Denise, Kevin is an originator on his own down in Austin, Texas. He's been at it for a long time too. So he's really sorry he couldn't be here today. But he wanted to know this. What advice would you give new loan officers or even experienced loan officers who might not be reaching their fullest potential?
I always say they have to talk about mortgages 24/7 and everyone. That's it. Like, whether I write loans for, my son's soccer coach when he was 5 years old and he's 27 now. Just let the whole world know that you do mortgages. Hopefully you're very passionate about it so that they feel it, right? Because that's exciting when they can feel your passion for it. And do your videos and get on every social media platform. There's a whole bunch of them. That's it. It's a no-brainer. I almost don't want them buying leads. I just want them to just get out there and just let the whole world know that they're a loan officer and they're ready to make home buyers' dreams come true.
Outstanding. Shawn?
Like for a new loan officer or a very experienced loan officer who's not reaching their full potential, I would always say you have to have an honest conversation with yourself. Like you can't cheat yourself. You can fool people. Like they say, men lie, women lie, but numbers don't. You got to understand, am I actually putting in the hours I said I'm working? So I was at work for 8 hours today, but did I actually work? You understand what I'm saying? How long was so when I got into this business, I was like, because in doing mortgages, it's basically entrepreneurial business, right? Nobody's standing over your head saying, hey, you need to do this, clock out at this time, so on and so forth. But I treated this business the same way when I used to work other jobs. So I would get to work at a certain time. I gave myself a certain amount of time to actually use the restroom. Okay. Actually, if I did take a lunch, how long am I taking? Because a lunch can turn into a 2-hour lunch break. A trip to the bathroom can turn into a 45-minute conversation just talking to your peers. And then you look back, I was at work for 8 hours, but I only did probably 3 to 4 hours worth of work. So what are you actually doing with your time? You got to take this job serious. Just because you don't have anybody sitting over your shoulder doesn't mean you have to take this job serious. So you got to seriously evaluate yourself. Am I actually putting the work I should be to reach the goals that I want to accomplish? And you can't say, hey, I want to close business like Denise and look at her numbers if I'm not putting in Denise's work ethic behind it, And you can't be too big to do the small things. Don't always put stuff up on your assistants. You need to understand the process. We're basically paid on our knowledge. I mean, that's what we're paid for. And people are they're gravitating to us based on our knowledge base. That's what it's nice to do videos, but if I don't know what I'm talking about, nobody's going to gravitate to me. Nobody wants to send their clients to me. So you got to be a professional. You got to know what you're talking about. I don't need you to know the handbooks for Fannie Mae and FHA and whatever it may have you. I don't need you to know that, but I do need you to be professional about what is needed on this file, how to understand your readings, how to understand your findings, how to help people avoid the obstacles through the transaction. That's all we do as loan officers, helping people, guide people through the obstacles that they could possibly face and learning that. Get around somebody that's actually doing type of business that you would like to do. Sit down and learn. These are things that I think that you should do if you're struggling, especially for a new person or a person who's been in the business and afraid to change. Get around somebody who's doing the business, the type of business you would like to do, and mimic what they do. Ask them the questions. Listen how they respond to problems and concerns, and how do they rebuttal this. We all get the same concerns. Hey, Shawn, what is your rate? How did that person answer? What is Denise's response when somebody asks you that? How low credit scores do you go down to? Do you do this? And I don't want to provide you these bank statements. What's my next option? How do they go? How do you? What is her reproach on that? If there's a difficult file, how do they handle that? If they got an irate client, how do they settle them down? These are things that you got to know and be very good at, and then you'll start making money.
Wow. My favorite question when someone says, what's your best rate? I'll say, what rate do you want? And they don't even know. They're like, I don't know. I just want your best one. Okay.
Because listen, a loan officer can give you any rate that you want. It just may cost you, but we can give it to you.
Great point. Great points, guys. Listen, I feel like we're going to need to have you both back on again a little later this year to pick up on you. We're running out of time now, though. So listen, Shawn, Denise, it's been a real pleasure. Just quickly, Shawn, if folks want to reach you, we'll get it in the show notes. Best way to reach you?
They can follow me on Instagram at Mortgage Mamba. I'm the biggest Kobe Bryant fan.
1 year out.
Self-proclaimed Kobe Bryant fan. They can find me there, or they can find me Shawn Graham, which is spelled Shaun, Graham like in Graham Cracker or Billy Graham, Graham, on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, wherever.
That's clearly LinkedIn, right? Yeah. So, Denise, how about you?
Just askmortgagegal.com or Denise, last name Panza, pretty much Panza. Just type in Panza.
Outstanding. Like I said, folks, check out their videos. They're very thoughtful. It's an amazing, we've got two of the country's most successful originators here, and you come at it from a very different ways, it appears, and yet, at the end of the day, you're showing out your expertise, you're sharing what you know, and it's winning you business. And I think a lot of LOs could learn from that. So we're going to have you back. I do thank you guys for joining us today. Rick Grant, thank you as always for joining us. Like I said, we'll have Kevin Breeland back with us. And Shawn, well, Denise, you may not know, but we record this on an old iPad. So it doesn't have much battery life, which usually dictates the length of the show. So Mr. Graham, I've just made you a producer of our show. Mr. Grant, take us home. Now the off button doesn't work. God. Mr. Grant, take us home.